Dragons are so cool in Elden Ring, but so far every dragon-themed build we've done has ended up in D tier. Can you even imagine? Dragon? Ds? Nuts. I don't think the Dragon Priestess is going to be that much different. The spell she casts does no damage. Her hammer is wicked short, and apparently, new tradition here, she doesn't wear armor. I guess we're in for another flop of a dragon run. Unless this is good, which would be shocking. To experience the epic highs and lows of Elden Ring runs, follow us on Twitch. We have new runs going on all the time. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it. Check out our other channels. Tulok Time is where we're playing Minecraft, Marvel Rivals, and Kingdom Hearts. Tulok the Cardbarian is where we make commander decks for Magic the Gathering. Tulok the Barbarian is where we do our D&D 5e homebrew. Thanks again to our executive producer Beth for this episode. Now let's join the Dragon Church and sing in the Dragon Choir. You know why the Dragon Choir is the best, right?
Beginning, a very good place to start.
Actually, the best place to start is at the end, briefly, then back to the beginning for a little bit and kind of jumping back and forth for a little bit. Or at least we'll start with the end of the Kindred of Rot run. No matter how bad this one is, it won't be that bad, right? Florisax is already dead when we find her. She does that when Bale dies because she hated him so much. You know what I always say, fans come and go, but haters never miss a video. Now we'll hit up Renala and respec our stats for big old arcane and strength. I think I will put a little bit into our Faye. She doesn't use any spells though, does she? Oh, she does actually. She does. Hold on. Yes, she does. The Come Onion Priestess. Yep, but if you give her the Thiolli concoction, you get Dragon Bolt of Florisax, which requires 52 faith. What the f? Well, I guess we'll start heading that direction. Oh boy, I love when a build requires our stats to be very spread out. It's a good omen for the future, like a red sky in the morning, or a truck carrying logs in front of you on the highway. Now, while we were pesting, we kind of used a lot of somber stones in the world, and therefore have to run around collecting them for the hammer. After getting up to +9, I think we can test this thing out against a Nastia to see how things go. First, the Dragon Heart makes us a Dragon Lady. It buffs all of our defenses except lightning, which gets worse, and also makes us a woman. They added a second way to easily transition in this game. Hell yeah! But is the weapon any good? The Ash of War calls down a lightning bolt, and that seems to struggle to hit Anastia, but it can be charged, and it lowers enemies' lightning resistance by 23% uncharged and 30% if you charge it. No, what? No, it can't be that high. Hold on.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Important to note, the hammer itself just does piercing damage. It has bonus to damage against dragons and ancient dragons, while already having the damage type they are weakest to. This might actually be kind of cool. Oh, and it's a hammer, so bonus stance pressure on charged attacks. We're not going to use those as much. Instead, consider... excuse me? We might go get the charge... the Godfrey icon. Better to have it in case we want it. Oh, never mind. The damage multiplication is just a little silly. That Erdtree avatar was for the lightning boosting tier, which will boost our lightning damage by 20%. How does that work with the debuff? Well, I don't do math. Tough guys don't do math. Tough guys pickle foul feet for a living. So Godfrey icon, we have to fight Godfroy the Grafted, totally different guy, not a clone of Godfrey at all, because he's a clone of Godric. That's a fun little twist. This is also a place to test the range of the lightning bolt, which is quite large. It doesn't use up very much magic either, and obviously it's lightning damage, so it works with the lightning debuff it puts on enemies. The only way to make it better would be if there were two of us, or if we were using today's sponsor. That's right, gamers, this video is sponsored by Factor. Factor is the meal delivery service that sends you fresh, never frozen meals that are ready to eat in 2 minutes. All you gotta do is pop them in the microwave, you're good to go. Now, that's not to say you can never cook. I, for one, love cooking. But do I love going to the grocery store, buying up all the groceries, doing all the dishes, doing all the prep work for the food every time I want to eat? No. Factor is an excellent way to get healthy foods into your diet faster. But healthy varies from person to person depending on your dietary needs. That's why it's great that Factor has vegan, vegetarian, keto, and calorie smart options depending on what you need to eat. I like to go for the calorie smart option so I can pick out later in the day. But despite being low calorie, those meals are still delicious and still fully filling. Something else I love about Factor is they are sustainably sourced. They use 100% renewable energy for their production sites and offices, and also offset 100% of their delivery emissions. Pretty neat. something that's important to me. So to get started with Factor today, go to factor75.com and enter offer code 50height at checkout. That'll get you 50% off your first Factor box and free shipping. Again, that's factor75.com, or click the link in the description and enter offer code 50height at checkout for 50% off your first box and free shipping. Now let's get back to this shockingly good build. Scion, more like goodbye on that, because we smite that sucker and figure out a little bit more about the Dragon Priestess heart. It goes away when you die, but then you can just eat it again, and it's fine, no downside, other than, I guess, less lightning resistance. Oh, and you have to be naked, which we're naked because, is that a rule or something? Did we just finish all of the armor runs? I didn't realize we weren't dragony for a while. I'm not particularly observant. Oh wait, I'm naked again. Now I'm sexy. There we go. See, I didn't even observe that I called the Dragon Priestess sexy out loud, and also didn't observe that Corey left that in the edit. Thanks again to Corey for editing these videos, and welcome to Limgrave as a video. Did you like that? We're gonna make more, I hope. Interesting routing note, you can't actually get the Dragon Priestess stuff in one run. You have to choose if you want the Hammer in the Heart or the Spirit Ash in the Spell, which, I mean, that's a rough choice for me, because I'm a baby gamer who's pathetic and loves Spirit Ashes, but I'm also a spell hater who hates all spells intrinsically. I don't want the spell. No, also it would be kind of impossible to get back to the Dragon Priestess doing it the other way, so that's why we started with the Hammer. And also, we get to imagine dragons in Fortnite. Then we boogie to the Dragon Barrow and show off the bonus damage to dragons on Grail. And it's raining. God, raining? At night? Is this some sort of Elden Ring rain night? Lightning does better in rain. I don't know why we killed the Putrid Avatar, other than the fact that we already have 3 maxed out stats and basically need a 4th to cast the spell. Oh yeah, that's the reason. All this is just to get to the DLC as quickly as we can, which also means making our way to Mohg as fast as we possibly can, and Radahn. But I forgot Radahn had to be dead, so we're just gonna goof that up a little bit, okay? This is a journey, not a destination, otherwise you just skip to the tier list. None of you are that pervy for a tier list. At least I hope not. Test the range against Smaragd. Not that far out. That's pretty far out.
How far out are you, man?
I'm pretty far out.
That's pretty far out, man.
Side note, when we do the Astel Spaceman run, gotta model that shit after Bowie, right? So let's make a mistake and go for Margaret first. He says we're of passing skill. No, dog, I'm of pressing skill, because I be pressing that L2 button. This isn't even really the fight to make that joke in. I was still trying to use the hammer part of the hammer when really, this is a casting seal. It has access to 1 spell, kind of like how they're doing it in Night Rain, apparently. Also, there are no blue flasks in Night Rain, and FP is restored through other means. Dang, lots of stuff I said would have made spells better in your Night Rain, isn't there? Almost as though, as the game has been out, they realized spellcasting needed some tweaks to be fun. It's a curse, my foresight. Godric is just cursed by being hit with lightning bolts and a hammer a few times, but it's mostly the lightning bolts. It's just so safe, hits so hard, and that makes the next one hit harder. They did not need to go this hard on the Ash of War, but I'm glad they did. And hey, spell enjoyers. I know sometimes you catch heat here. Actually, just the spells catch heat here. You don't catch any heat here, other than when, you're being a crybaby, and I say you're being a crybaby, but whatever. What I'm trying to say is, this would be awesome with Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike or Knight's Lightning Spear. You can use the Come Onion as your casting seal focus to get the most out of your arcane, and have a Gravel seal in your offhand for the bonus. As long as you're hitting the faith minimum for those lightning spells, you can enjoy the extra damage from this Ash of War. So this build would work even better as a spell weapon hybrid run. That's not what I'm doing today, but if you use the good spells with it, it would be good, and the rest of the lightning spells are mid to garbage. That's also unfair. Lightning Spear and Honed Bolt are fine enough. The rest of them are pretty bad. But also don't listen to me anyway, right? I'm an idiot. Like, who forgets you have to kill Radahn to get to the DLC? Only fools would do that. So now a fool has to run all the way through Caelid and just wasted a bunch of time fighting Godric early, a boss that I guess we would have to fight eventually anyway, so it's fine. Party time. Nothing says party like inviting a religious zealot. That was a joke, but apparently it is pretty sick if they have lightning powers. And the goal of the party is to kill a giant corpse that's been cadaverically spasming so hard he fights the asteroid belt. Most of the time I go to parties, it's just like people having some drinks, listening to some tunes, maybe stepping outside for a bit of grave glovewort, or ghost glovewort if they just got back from Washington. Speaking of parties and people who don't get invited to them, let's go do the Vari quest. It's the fastest way to get to Mohg and get your Mohg win. We'll fight Beastman Magnus, everyone's favorite NPC. I'll put put him on a poll eventually because he's so important, lore critical, and not just because I want an excuse to use the Great Stars again. Then we have to go defeat Sauron with the power of hitting 6 men with a hammer. And Vike. He's actually got some hands. Aggressive NPCs tend to run faster than our bolt comes down. It's something I was noticing against Anastia and confirmed here. Counterpoint though, thunder isn't good because it's accurate. It's good because when it does connect, things die. And that works pretty great. Mohg this early is a bit nerve-wracking, but to be honest, New Game Plus isn't all that different from New Game. The end game just gets a little tricky since the bosses are still scaling up and your build's probably done. If it wasn't done at the end of your New Game cycle, it's probably done by the time you get to the end game of New Game Plus. Now this Mohg fight goes pretty great. We can blast him with lightning, then when he wants to get close, we hit him with the extra stance pressure of the hammer charge attacks. His ankles break pretty fast, and that leads to an easy first try win. We don't even have a Spirit Ash yet. How nutty is this gonna get? We'll find out once we finish figuring out the complicated Thiolli questline. First, you talk to Thiolli, then you talk to more, then you talk more to Thiolli and give him the syrup from more. Now we have the Thiolli concoction, and that was actually super easy to get, not even hard. Unlike the Ancient Dragon Man who, wait, the Ancient Dragon Man was hard today? Yeah, he kind of zones us out and can get around our lightning. Also, he's got the Chomp. The Chomp that's pretty good. Hey everyone, I said the Chomp was pretty good for like the 7th time now. Can we stop saying he lies about the Chomp and said the Chomp is bad? I didn't know it was good in one video and thought it would be worse for honestly pretty understandable reasons. Can we put that to rest? Not good enough to beat us twice or even beat us twice when we beat him twice. Because sometimes hitting that copy paste with your enemies feels so good, you can't even wait more than 3 minutes of leisurely walking. Here's the weird part of the quest. The priestess needs to be given the potion at night, but if you rest at the grace till night, she disappears. So you have to go to a different grace, wait there, then warp over to the Come Onion grace. Sounds like a lot of hoopla just for a Spirit Ash, but remember, it's not just a Spirit Ash. It's a Spirit Ash and a spell that we're nowhere near being able to cast yet. We'll get there. Jagged Peak Drake is a dragon, which we're super effective against because we're a dragon. In a way, it's super effective against us, but that's just because we have dog shit defenses. Doesn't really matter when you could bring down the wrath of Zeus every time you tap the L2 button. By the way, in previous runs, I've said some press L2s to win are fun, and some press L2s to win are not fun. This one's fun. It becomes funny by being so good. Very early Bale is a lot more concerning than early Mohg. All of these attacks hit wicked hard, and for some reason I'm flopping the dodges. If you want some Johns, I'm using new streaming software on my new computer, and there was input lag.
Please, no Johns.
Just if they wanted Johns, Reggie. Get off my ass, man. Second attempt goes better. We dodge some attacks. That's all we need. I know we love Egon here, but it's just because he's got bars. The dude contributes Ansbach levels of utility to the fight. Florasax is really mad at herself for falling asleep, but when we tell her we gave her NyQuil, she gets mad at us. So mad at us that she declares her loyalty to us forever and surrenders herself to be our ghost servant and send into battle like a Pokemon?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess sometimes sisters don't make sense.
And twins.
Yeah, I'm sorry I needle dropped that so much, but I just think it's insane that we had a commercial where one of the selling points was potential incest. And it wasn't even for coffee. Our first boss with the new sister is the Mimic tier. She looks very much like a Kindred of Rot. Oh yeah, I gotta switch the ash there, huh? Torches get lit, mooses get hit. With lightning. In real life, this is the best way to fight a moose. Pray to God that it gets struck by lightning. Doesn't even get to teleport away, so it's a foolproof strategy as long as God loves you more than the moose. Don't try it if you're a sinner. Carry a manor, I think it'd be easier to get some ropes and just pull it, you know? Be dragging it. Loretta on a lake, that was her mistake. Lightning, truly blessed by being pretty darn good against most things, super effective against some things, and even boosted by environmental bonuses sometimes. At least in Demon's Holes, when you made a weapon holy, the game gave you regen as an apology. I dunk on the optional Ronnie quest that is mandatory for being annoying, because it is annoying, but it also gives me an excuse to run through a very easy Ghost Glovewort upgrade path, because Ronnie wants you to use Spirit Ashes. It's so obvious. Forget what I say. I'm just an annoying YouTuber regurgitating content ideas that have already been done to death with lazily thrown in sexual innuendo and clickbaity thumbnails. So listen to Ronnie instead. Totally different scenario. Estelle, water, lightning. It's a match made in heaven. If heaven is the Pewter City Gym and the match is just lying about being able to hit Onyx with Thunderbolt if you try hard enough. It can be hard to go to school with your sibling, but that's only if they haven't devoted their entire life to fighting for your honor as a ghost. Then it's really easy, actually. We already beat Mohg and Bale. You think I'm gonna get got by a dog? Come on. Can Moongram parry a lightning bolt? No, but he can rush in between. Not all that hard or nothing. He's not Bale. And neither is Renala. Her husband is the one who bailed. Jesus, can you imagine raising Rykard and Radahn as a single mom?
Can we give a moment to working moms? 頑張りましょう.
I don't think Ronnie would be all that hard to raise, although she did grow up to commit more fratricide than her siblings, so maybe she should have gotten some more one-on-one time. Girls are just conditioned by society to push their emotions down as children, and apparently that leads to the Night of Black Knives, so maybe let your daughters be a little more expressive. I take back my moment for working moms. Renala needed to do better. Speaking of doing better, let's help a small business owner, Boggart, with his utility bills. Oh, hey, Boggart, you're not really supposed to be using a gas stove anymore? Yeah, we switched to electric. Here, let me see if I can get that to work for you. Godskin Noble, more like Godskin No, because we don't let this man's move. 2 charged heavies from the hammer breaks his stance. That's something fun to remember at home. Then we just kind of zap him. Trying to remember if anything interesting happened in the Rykard fight. Not for this run, ever. Trying to remember if anything ever interesting ever happened in any Rykard fight ever. Nope. So let's just move on to the more interesting Valiant Gargoyles. Ugh. This is just a rough section of the game to power through. It's one of the few times the piercing hammer lets us down as the gargoyles are weaker to strike. Just like your bosses. That's a joke about collective action, not hitting your bosses with a hammer for legal reasons. Zapping on the water though. It's like the devs knew they needed this to be cracked in every single fight, so if it would be bad somewhere, they dumped a bunch of water on it. Final gatekeeper of the fun bosses, it's Fia's champs. Having a buddy just makes this so much better, and hey, so does the water. This is what happens when you don't have custodians, by the way. Maybe we should compensate them fairly if you don't want to get electrocuted. Food for thought. Now let's take this priestess to destroy all the false gods.
Baby beluga in the deep blue sea.
Golden Godfrey is weak to lightning because gold, that's PP. PP is impure. Pure water actually doesn't conduct electricity. It's the impurities in the water that do. Maybe, I don't know, I heard that somewhere. We're not a science channel, we're a politics channel that puts some video games on in the background. Much like Goldfree puts his secretions on the floor, Morgott also likes to lube the ground up with his bodily fluids. It's why he's barefoot. Everyone hates wet socks. For dem lands, remember how that train derailed and spilled poison everywhere during the Biden presidency? Every right-winger tripped over their own dicks to blame woke or whatever. Planes are falling out of the sky now. Trump gutted the FAA day one. Every plane crash, you gotta be out there immediately reminding everyone that purging the DEI FAA workers made the airlines less safe, and that lax regulations at Boeing make the planes unsafe. This isn't DEI pilots, girls, gays, and people of color are biologically worse at flying planes because duh, we evolved before planes. Oh, or if you're into intelligent design, God made our bones thick and hard so we couldn't fly. All that to say, blaming a plane crash on woke kinda gives the game away that every bad thing you see, you just say, that's woke and that's why it's bad. Rykard is a boring boss fight cause he's woke. Speaking of fired workers, Fire Giant. How's that for a segue? One bolt breaks his bracelet and a few hits break his stance. In phase 2, we hammer his hand and then just blast his face with lightning. It's incredibly fast, maybe the fastest we've ever done it. Godskin Duo is no match for our Dragon Duo. Hitless Godskin Duo incoming? Oh, if that's the case, I wasted my magic. No! Okay, but you really should have seen that coming. Yeah, sometimes the job is rough. You know what? Yeah, actually some days the job is rough. Today it's very easy and I can put my proverbial feet up. But there are definitely days that suck. Content creation is just like every other job that way. Bird Run goes better when you can make the red lightning work against the birds instead of with them. Garonk gets zapped and then smacked in phase 2 so that I can zap him while he can't move. Feels a little mean. Then I remember doing the Malekith fights at 0 vigor and suddenly I don't feel so mean. Gideon could break out of the lightning combo, but we get fully buffed up and yeah, we're done. it's already over. Darn. Godfrey is still weaker to lightning when he's made out of meat, probably because he's still got piss in him. Since piss is stored in the balls and he's got massive balls. That's a lot of piss. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of lightning weakness.
It's science.
So what's the Elden Beast and Radagon's excuse? Well, what do you think holy damage is? Elden Beast even covered the floor with it. Just goes to show Radagon continuing to be an irresponsible pet owner. He lets his red wolf play with swords and doesn't take his space whale out for potty breaks. The real reason we beat his ass is the animal cruelty, and the reason we beat his space whale is because it kinda deserves it. Whales shouldn't uphold harmful theocracies. They should do cool whale things, like attacking yachts and messing with billionaire sonar to make them get lost at sea. Beating God was easy, but there are still some other God contenders we need to take out, so let's get those tenders. Ancient Dragon Fortis Axe, not to be confused with Dragon Priestess Floris Axe, has 80% lightning resistance. But...
Are you sure about that?
Because we can hit the head for extra damage. It takes extra damage from us as a dragon, then it gets debuffed to take even more extra damage, and it's on water, so it takes more damage from the lightning. Now, does Niall have intense lightning resistance? Not that I'm aware of. He should, he's got lightning in his moveset, but I think this is one of those 40 is high resistance folks. 40 isn't high. Wow, look at Miss Deep Dish DPS over here. This is also when I realized we don't even have the jar shard. So Detour, let's make friends with a pot man to do even more damage. Been a while since we made friends with a pot man, and I love the pot man. He just kind of makes you walk around a lot. He doesn't make you fight the magma worm. We did that because we wanted to, but with damage like this, why wouldn't you? Zapping Alex doesn't take long and rewards us with this sweet shard. Never trust a fart, buddy. That's 15% more, stacking on the 15% from the Godfrey icon and 20% from the lightning tier and 30% debuff from the Ash 4. That's a bunch of math. I can't be bothered to do it. We're not a math channel. We're a politics channel that puts Elden Ring on in the background. Constipated Snowfield. It's the opposite of Alex and his shart. The Knight's Cavalry won't let us rest at the grace until he just decides to leave. Thanks, buddy. Placidus Axe is our lord, or at least he was until we killed Baal. Then we became our lord. No lords anymore. He's also not a dragon. So stupid. I bring it up all the time, but Dragon Lord Placidus Axe, not a dragon. Whatever. Piercing Hammer still pierces. Lightning still lightnings. He's got that 40% lightning resistance. Okay, call me when it's 100. He doesn't even get to hit the Omega Laser. This is one of the fastest Placies we've had in a minute. Loretta is weakest to lightning because she's carrying a big metal stick. Fun fact, in a thunderstorm, don't do that. Zip, zap, zop. We're done with that. Only Malenia left. Can she stop the dragon train? No, not even like a little. Her lightning isn't her worst resistance, to be fair. But to be fairer, yes it is when she steps on the big pond. So you know, phase 1 goes pretty fast. Yo, when she's in the onion? Yo, when she's in the onion? 3 damage. Oh no! What am I gonna do? Oh jeez! I hope I don't have to press L2. Easiest Malenia of my life. Maybe. Probably Blasphemous Blade actually. That's a little easier. But this is just comically easy. Let's storm the DLC.
You ever been in a storm, Wally? I mean, a real storm?
It's a big door. Yeah, just Brett, the DLC was inspired by Lord of the Rings. That's why they added more doors. God, I'm funny. We actually have less bosses to hit this time since Baal is already dead. Dancing Lion is first. He's got 40 lightning resistance. Haha, what a story mark. He's focused on Floris Axe, so we get to zap him from the back. Also, didn't bring it up earlier, but her Dragon Claw has lightning on it, so it's totally different than the Dragon Claw in the base game. This isn't a secret starting class. We'd have to get a spell that isn't in the game, frankly. It's not just because I hate the claw. I do hate the claw, but it's not just because of that. Rolana stands in a bathtub and wears a bunch of metal. She might as well be holding a damn toaster. At least she's aggressive and doesn't just let us slap the lightning bolts down. Like, don't get me wrong, she doesn't stop us, but there is beauty in her failure. Also, some educational stuff. Oh, she is invincible when she does that. You know, it's important to learn these things. Why do they call him Gaius when he tries to pig us? They should really change his name. But it's super easy. You can cook pigs on electric just as well as you can on gas or coal. Butter basting in the pan is the superior way to cook it anyway. If you really love grill marks that much, I Guess you could argue that, but compared to taking a hot tub bath in a pork fat, butter, sage, garlic mixture, I mean, to me there's no comparison. The hardest boss in the run, Fire Knight outside of Mesmer's room, is even easy for this run. What can't it do? Apparently beat Mesmer the first time. Yeah, remember how some NPCs gave us issues because they were good at rushing us down while we were trying to zone? Well, Mesmer gets deep in our guts. Makes sense. They don't call him Impaler for nothing. They call him the Impaler because he asked them to. That's sad. Attempt 2. We get stabbed less. And note, when he's coming for us and when he's coming for Florisax, we get so close to dying multiple times. But sometimes, if you pray enough, the Snake Man won't get you. Hey, did you know that you're not supposed to stand under a tree in a thunderstorm? Did you also know that a 90th percentile MCAT score of 515 opens doors to nearly 100 medical schools, while a 500 score opens just one? That's a little jump scare for like 5 people in the audience, I'm sure. But let's practice the math section of the MCAT real quick. Flour plus water plus head that's sensitive plus already doesn't have great lightning resistance anyway. What's the answer to the equation? 1 flower that won't be moving anytime soon. So I guess like most flowers then. Putrescent Knight is great at rushing us down and running under the lightning. Counterpoint,
we don't care.
The phase transition where it stands still was a mistake. Maybe you shouldn't be on water. So many of these bosses would do better with a few paper towels. Florisax and I make very quick work of Jory, who did not bring a towel. Midra also has a big metal pole like Loretta, but he's way faster than her. And she's on horseback. Loretta, are you even trying? This ends up being a little bit tricky. So I try coming at it from another angle. Use the stance pressure from the hammer. It works okay, but then he hits the phase transition bomb and instantly comes out spinning. Can you do that? Is that allowed? Florisax actually lets us land our crit for once. She has a habit of interrupting that. A few more bolts, we get our win. Romina gets a little hammer and a little lightning, probably because I don't know that hammer was only piercing damage at this point in my life, and I thought it was getting a damage buff. Yeah, didn't realize that till I was writing Phil. Turns out the hammer's just so darn good, I thought it was being buffed. Romina tries to end it as a wheel, probably thinking it would make her rubber. Well, at least she tried, but now she's defeated. Or should I say, retired. Letta and the gang, for some reason, she doesn't think we're here for Mikola. Maybe it's the fact that we're dressed as a dragon. Give us a dragon ending, FromSoft, you cowards. Zap Horn sent first, then try to zap Good Kush Greg, but he's quite fast. Not a huge problem. And then it's 3-on-1 against Letta. She can't really handle that. First attempt against Radahn, we love Ansbach, but we leave him behind. I don't think he's gonna get a bleed proc, which means he'd just be a distraction for Radahn at best. We don't really need that. Leaving Ansbach at home also helps our stance pressure, and in phase 2, we open with a nice little crit. I'm trying to mostly use the hammer, since it stops Radahn from moving. He scares me when he moves. Our spell also gives us a defensive buff. Did I mention that? Yeah, a 10 out of 10 spell that makes you take less damage. He jumps down, goes for the nuke. He can't input read if there isn't an input. Fuck it! First try Radahn, probably the easiest fight I've ever had against him. New number 1, welcome to S tier Priestess. Low armor doesn't matter. The Dragon Heart makes our defenses pretty good. The only physic tier we need is lightning, so we can have resistance physic as well, and the spell gives us 10% more. Apparently it also makes you better at guarding. Neat, I guess. The best spells just make you better at the game. Best Ashes of War do that too, which this one kinda does by making the enemies so much worse. And here's the thing, it doesn't even need that. The lightning already does good damage, and since it's an Ash of War, it comes out at a pretty respectable speed with no dex investment. The hammer is also a hammer. That's pretty good. Piercing damage is the most useful of the physical types, so that's even better. You also have the stats to make this even better if you want to add Ancient Dragon Lightning Strike or Golden Vow. I don't think you need to, but you could. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, subscribe for more. We're making new videos all the time. Join the Patreon to support the channel. It's the best place to do it. Follow us on Tulok Time to watch us play other games. Tulok the Cardbarian, where we make some Magic the Gathering decks. And Tulok the Barbarian, where we make 5e D&D homebrew.